going on, everybody? This is dkdynamite, and today we're going to be talking about scrapped zombies game modes. Now, this goes all the way back to Transit within Black Ops 2, and as we all know, Transit was an unfinished experience. Blundell even confirmed that information when he went on the Zombros podcast, but this is information that I don't think a lot of people know, and I think we should definitely be grateful for game modes like Rush and Gauntlet, which are now live in Black Ops 4 Zombies, because this is a step in the right direction. There were plenty of scrapped game modes within Black Ops 2 that we look at Black Ops 3 and we're like, what happened? Why were there no other game modes besides the core experience in Black Ops 3? And it seems like Treyarch took some of that criticism after the end of Black Ops 3 season and said, you know what, we're definitely going to do more modes for Black Ops 4. But it's kind of funny how they took a gap year in a sense and they decided to completely abandon the possibility of doing other game modes in Black Ops 3, but have since changed that within Black Ops 4. So looking back at Transit, besides just survival and grief, there were a number of other modes that were gonna be live if they had more time to develop Transit, and these modes included Race, Meet, Turned, Returned, No Man's Land, and even more. Now, I'm getting my information from CallOfDutyZombies.com. I have a link down below in the description. Also, keep in mind, Blundell did confirm this information when he was interviewed several times after the reveal of Zombies Chronicles and when he was on the Zombros podcast. So, starting off with the game mode known as Meet. The game starts with two teams separated from each other by some kind of fence. The whole game is about the meet itself. So, the players of one team have to throw the meat via several barriers within the fence to the other side of the map to the other team. The side where the meat lays is the side that will be attacked by zombies, so the players of the other team have to pick up the meat and throw it as quick as possible to the other side before the zombies kill their team. So it's some kind of volleyball, and the tactic is to throw the meat to the harder sides of the map. So the upper floor of the bar in town is an example of this. So it seems like it's similar to Rush in the sense that you'll be moving from location to location playing this game of volleyball, and once again there has to be a distinction between the canon version of Zombies versus these party games, because these party games is what creates replayability within Zombies, and I can already tell that Rush created just a little bit of replayability for Black Ops 4 Zombies, while Gauntlet is adding even more replayability. As we only had it released on Voids of Despair with the other maps to follow, it's a step in the right direction for the replayability that this game needs, and that's the point of this video. It's the fact that there were so many modes planned for Black Ops 2 which never saw light of day because of restrictions with their schedules, restrictions with the hardware at the time. Then we go into Black Ops 3 Zombies and it seems like they really took a very serious approach to the aesthetic of the map, the gameplay, the cutscenes, the Easter egg quest. But not only is that the core of their game, the meat itself, no pun intended, but other modes also add to that replayability, which I don't know why these devs can't understand in 2019. You know, on top of the other issues, which is why Black Ops 4 has the player base that it does, and I'll go into those issues in a separate video. They really just pertain to other games like Fortnite doing a lot more with endgame content and weekly updates. On top of those issues, plus some of the stability problems the game has, the game itself is pretty damn solid, and I think the inclusion of modes like this, which are just party games, just fun things, they aren't part of the zombie storyline, which is very serious obviously, those add to the life of the game itself. So we can definitely tell Meat had some very serious QA testing back in Black Ops 2 Zombies, since it's the only extra game mode that had an official description behind it, since some of these testers obviously wrote out what the game mode was about to these websites. And on the list we also have something called Race, which we could assume is probably similar to Rush in a way, where you have to move from spot to spot, kill endless hordes of zombies, get your perks, get your pack a bunch of weapons, and move on to the next spot. That's probably what that was, but we can also say the transit bus was probably playing a big role in that game mode known as Race. I do believe there was some type of talk back, way back when, about having to stay on the bus the entire game, and this would probably be in the game mode Rush, or Race, where you have to stay on the bus, you have endless hordes of zombies coming at you at the same time, and you can't leave the bus, so it's up to you to defend it. Not sure how getting other weapons would have worked in this mode. It might have dropped you off in certain areas, you can get your weapons, loot up, and then you have to get back on the bus in a certain time limit. Not sure how that worked, but definitely a cool concept. Once again, would have made Transit a much better map with the Easter egg that it has, because the Easter egg itself is so damn short, and hopefully it gets remade and recreated in its remaster or remake later down the line in Zombies Chronicles 2, because the Easter egg itself is just not it's just not replayable. There's almost no steps behind it. It's like 2 or 3 steps, all based on RNG. It's just not fun. So I think if they would have kept that Easter egg of Black Ops 2 and adding these other game modes behind Transit, it would have made Black Ops 2 Zombies a much better launch experience, in my opinion at least. And I think it's also kind of ironic that a lot of other YouTubers like Johnny J and such are making videos talking about Transit and how they would like to see it remade in 2019. So just figured this was a good video for the current date and time. Now, we also have Turned, which did end up releasing, but not in its entirety from what I understand. So it obviously released on the map Diner, and it later released again for, I think it was called Bureau. It was a part of Buried, which was locked off just for Turned. And it was definitely another step in the right direction for something that fans have been asking for, you know, actually playing as a zombie. And we were essentially playing gun game in this game mode, and I always thought it was fun just to play a couple of times every so often with a good group of friends. It's fun. Playing on pubs might not be as fun, but there needed to be more to that. Having that reverse gun game mode within Turned worked out pretty good. I think it was pretty fun in and of itself, but there was nothing past that. There should have been different rewards for playing that. There should have been different versions of Turned. Maybe everybody plays as a zombie and fights each other, or everybody's fighting for one thing. It should have had more substance to it, which I think it really lacked, which is why there was almost no player base on it, and there still isn't to this day. But if they ended up recreating Turned and how it works fundamentally for Black Ops 4 Zombies, I think it would work out a lot better, especially with the smoother UI that Black Ops 4 does have compared to Black Ops 2. Now we have a mode called Returned. Not sure what that means whatsoever, but it could be something that utilizes the perk Tombstone, in the sense that if you die out, you do come back. Consider it something like Down but not Out within Blackout, where once you die, you have a couple chances left with coming back. So maybe Returned had to do with facing a very hard horde of zombies with limited weaponry, and you have a certain amount of lives to actually survive, and then whoever got the highest time obviously had a nice placement on the leaderboard. Not sure how that would have worked, but moving on to No Man's Land. So that's probably something similar to what Moon ended up having, which consisted of this endless wave of zombies to come at you, and you can obviously stay and survive as long as you can, or you can leave and move on to the next area. We had that in Moon, and maybe they were trying to figure out something similar for Transit, so not exactly sure what that could mean, because once again there isn't a description for these other modes besides meat, and it even says possibly even more. So I do think they were planning on having like 6 to maybe 8 game modes just for Green Run, and Transit as a core map was just one part of the experience, which does make sense. If the Easter egg was so short, there was limited content on the map itself, it was structured pretty poorly because of the hardware limitations at the time, adding all these other modes with that would have made it a pretty balanced experience, and it would have made people say, hey, you know what, if you don't like the Easter egg, if you don't like just playing for high rounds, you have all these other modes to go to build up some replayability for the launch of Black Ops 2 as we await DLC 1, which ended up being Dire Eyes, another decently received map, but still had its issues as well. So overall, we can see how Treyarch kind of bit the short end of the stick with their launch experience of Black Ops 2, but I thought it was a very meaningful video to make here in 2019, since people are complaining about replayability in zombies when look at what we used to have. You know, Black Ops 2 had its fair share of issues, but then going into Black Ops 3, we only had Shadows of Evil and the Giant until February of 2016, when Horizon Jack finally dropped. Looking at where we are right now, before February, we have 5 zombie maps complete with crazy Easter eggs and quests, crazy amounts of content, and we have 2 new game modes, which we've been asking for years. We've been asking for different game modes in fucking zombies, and we barely got that in Black Ops 2, and definitely didn't get that at all on Black Ops 3. Not sure what happened there, but now we have Rush and Gauntlet, 2 very fun modes that obviously play very differently across the various maps in Black Ops 4. So I'm definitely looking forward to see how whenever a new zombie map drops, we then see the inclusion of a Rush mode for that map, and then the Gauntlet challenges for that map as well. And I went into this in one of my previous videos talking about top 5 updates we're going to be seeing to Black Ops 4 in 2019. Grief is a part of that list. Blundell confirmed himself that Grief is in the works for Black Ops 4, and it's pretty damn near complete. So we can expect that maybe in the next few weeks, maybe in the next few months, not sure when, but we can already say that we not only have the core mode, which is zombies and the survival with the Easter egg, but we then have Gauntlet, Rush, and we're about to have Grief. So hopefully we do see some of these other modes that were spoken about within Black Ops 2 Zombies back in BO4 at some point, because I'll leave the video on this note. We need to have a distinction between the canon version of zombies with the main Easter egg and the steps and all that serious shit. Then we have to have our party games just to continue providing the player base with endless amounts of replayability. But that's about it. Hope you guys enjoyed this little discussion about scrapped game modes. This has been dkdynamite. Check all links down below in the description, and peace out, everybody.